In Brussels, the European Union hailed its 19th sanctions package against Moscow, a move European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called a wide-ranging and extensive package hitting at the core of Russia's war economy. She praised Washington's parallel sanctions, calling the twin measures two very welcomed moves at the same time.
Let me also start with Ukraine. Indeed, this morning we adopted the 19th sanctions package. It is a wide-ranging and extensive package that hits at the heart of the Russian war economy. And in parallel, the United States is proceeding with its own set of sanctions on Russia. So these are two very welcomed moves at the same time. Because, of course, together with our partners and allies, we have a greater impact. And we will keep up pressure on Russia for as long as it takes, just as we've always said that we will stand by Ukraine for as long as it takes to secure an end to the killing and a just and lasting peace. This was also today our message to President Zelensky. We had a good discussion on the reparations loan to be financed with the immobilized Russian assets, and it allowed us to identify points we still need to clarify, and then indeed we will come back with the different options that we will develop. Let me underline again, we will always respect European and international law while we are taking this work forward that we've just described.
Germany backs the US and EU front. From Berlin, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz applauded the new sanctions, calling them a united front across the Atlantic. He said Europe has already cut over 80% of its energy ties with Russia and vowed to end them altogether by 2027. Merz framed the joint EU-US action as a clear warning to Vladimir Putin.
The second topic today was support for Ukraine. Mr. Putin continues his war of aggression against Ukraine, and we've had again bombardments and attacks by Russia in Ukraine. He is not willing to engage in serious negotiations, so we Europeans have to draw the necessary consequences with both our partners on this and on the other side of the Atlantic. And I'm pleased to note that we've been able to agree and pass on the 19th package of sanctions today. Europe has already reduced by more than 80% its energy ties with Russia, and by the end of 2027, we aim to end them once and for all. This has been decided today with the 19th package of sanctions, and I welcome the fact that the United States, too, have decided to take substantive new sanctions against the Russian energy sector. This is an important message addressed to President Putin that we aim to increase the pressure on Russia on both sides of the Atlantic.
In Moscow, President Vladimir Putin blasted Washington's measures as an unfriendly act that threatens to drive up global oil prices and damage fragile relations. He said Russia won't bend under Western pressure and warned that any attempt to hit Russian territory would trigger a stunning response.
This is an unfriendly act towards Russia. It's obvious. It doesn't help strengthen Russian-American relations, which have only just begun to recover. Such action by the U.S. administration certainly damages Russia-U.S. relations. A sharp reduction in the amounts of our oil and oil products sent to global markets will lead to price increases. We have discussed it with my American colleagues. What will it lead to? It will lead to a sharp increase in the price of oil and petroleum products, including at gas stations, and the United States is no exception. It's an attempt of escalation. If there are strikes with this weapon on Russian territory, the response will be very serious, not to say stunning. Let them think about it.
Putin also accused Washington of undermining diplomacy by postponing his planned meeting with President Trump in Budapest. He said Russia still favors dialogue, but only if the West drops what he called pressure politics.
I've seen and am familiar with this statement. The US president has decided to cancel or postpone this meeting. It seems he is talking about postponing it. I can say that a dialogue is always better than confrontation, arguments, or, even more so, war. That's why we have always supported continuing dialogue, and we support it now as well.
But inside the EU itself, Hungary's Prime Minister, Viktor Orbán, tore into Brussels, accusing it of obstructing peace in Ukraine and forming a war alliance. Speaking before thousands in Budapest, Orbán claimed that if Trump weren't blocked by Brussels, the war would already be over.
To send others to die. They are ready to send even more weapons, even more money to Ukraine. They declared the Russian war in Ukraine their own war, and with it they entered the war. They're in it up to the neck. If Brussels did not obstruct the US president's peace mission, the war would be over. Everyone knows that if Donald Trump had been president, the war would not have broken out. And if they weren't obstructing him now, there would be peace.
As Brussels celebrates sanctions, Moscow dismisses them as toothless, and Budapest brands them as warmongering. Europe's unity stands divided. With Trump's peace mission invoked by both Orbán and Putin, and sanctions tightening under US direction, the new European battlefield isn't in Ukraine. It's within the EU itself.